it took a long time to get over that. Like, I'm now in my 30s now, getting to the point where I'm really, it's been a few years, but certainly in my 20s I was still reticent about my upbringing, and it depended. I would have to know the person really well before I tell them that I had no running water or electricity until I was, you know, 10. My name is Clea Ward, and I came this weekend because it's a really good chance to catch up with people I haven't seen in a long time, and I think that it's a really interesting phenomena, this Back to the Land movement, and I'm excited to kind of talk to people who've shared that experience and you know, reminisce a little bit.
Well, it's the Home Again 2012 reunion, and we've been organizing it for about 7 months, and we've managed to pull back about 120 people of all ages, you know, people who originally came here and children of people who came here. Well, most of us were somewhat middle class, urban, educated young people, and but we were pushing back against the way our parents lived, and we wanted to live a more simpler, self-sustainable lifestyle. So those are the people who are called Back to the Landers, and all over Canada there were communities like this. It's the group of people who met in this part of the island back in the 70s. That's the core group, but people from other parts of the island who were Back to the Landers have also joined in. So we're looking at that, what we call the Back to the Land period, and how it affected our lives. You know, some people stayed here, and the houses that we're seeing today are an example of what you can do when you stay somewhere for a long time, and others of us, like me, left and led completely different lives, but we still have a great attachment and affection for this area. The biggest surprise for me was how many young people came, and I'd say it seems almost half young, half my generation. And we're doing a lot of talking and reflecting.
So that log cabin project you see there is 10 by 12.
Okay. My name is Michael Paget, and I moved here from Montreal in 1973, August 1973, 39 years ago. I wanted to live in the country somewhere. I'd never been to the Maritimes, and there was a catalog called the H.N. Dignam Land Tax Catalog. Very cheap land all across the country, and a friend of mine bought land in Fort Augustus on the Hillsborough River, paid $20 an acre for land on the Hillsborough River, and he came through in the spring and said it's great, and so I bought this land, this 50 acres, the same way through this catalog. I'd never been to PEI, I didn't know what the land looked like at all, and got here and drove up the lane and started building. But I think we really believed in a minimal way of living, and we looked at everybody's having too much and many unnecessary things, and so I guess we started with nothing and then slowly accumulated stuff as we needed, rather than have a preconceived idea of how much we needed. A lot of people worked as fishermen's helpers, so lobster, that was a good way to work. I did carpentry part of the year. Yeah, people worked, but they generally didn't work in the winter, you know, as most islanders didn't, you know, and that's what really the unemployment system was. Unemployment insurance was good, and that enabled us to, I think without that I don't think we would have made it, you know? To be able to work 2 months in the summer and have 10 months to work on your house and have money coming in, that was vital, you know? It was a lot more civilized than I thought it would be. I bought this land in the woods, so I kind of imagined that I'd be isolated in the woods someplace, and then the first thing I discovered is I had mail service 6 days a week, you know. And then the other big discovery is that people here are really nice and welcoming. This whole area people have been leaving it for 100 years, and when the older people saw young people like us moving in, they were really helpful, and they were actually glad to see us, and that was amazing, and they helped us a lot. A big thing that surprised me though is when I moved here 39 years ago, I thought by this time this whole area would be full of people. You know, I really thought people would keep coming, and it stopped. You know, it stopped after about 5 years, and then overall, you know, as everybody knows, the countryside is becoming depopulated. You know, so that's a huge surprise. I was happy here. You know, I couldn't see why go anywhere else. It was peaceful, beautiful, stress-free pace of living here, and nice, and lots of friends. I mean, a lot of us stayed, and those of us who came there in those first, you know, 73, 74, 75, 76, like, we're friends for life, you know. We still see each other even if it's only once a year, and we're just like, we just pick right up where we left off.
Hand pump, kerosene lamps. We did graduate to propane lamps. It wasn't until I was 12. I was probably 12 when we did get some power, got some lights. Okay, I'm on Katz, and I am son of Robert and Kathleen Katz, and so I'd be the second generation. Mom was from Akron, Ohio, and she was in a family of 5. And my dad was from the Bronx, New York. Cut to 26 years later, I started my own spot here, and started by building a house and having a family, and kind of using some of the same values as the first generation.
Yeah.
It was a serendipitous type of deal because they come from Montreal, come from New York, come from Ontario, and I mean there was some factors, the Vietnam War and just breaking from their parents' values. So, but they all ended up here, which is, and within a kind of a small area too. So there is something that's kind of unexplainable that just happened, which is I find interesting.